I would like to introduce the HDD Synth MKIII, as you can see from that nutty logo there. So this has just arrived from PCBWay, where it's been almost fully assembled. And that is a real step up from the Mark II, as you can see here, which uses breakout boards, which I bought off the shelf, along with through-hole components and some bits held on with blue tack. So the Mark III is designed to be pretty much fully assembled from the factory, which makes it much easier to ramp up and mass produce. So you can see things like the audio amplifier. That was a breakout board on the Mark II, and that's fully surface mounted here, along with the SD card reader. So it looks a lot more professional. It's also got some upgrades in terms of components. So the Mark II here, it's got a volume control, and that uses a potentiometer, which works okay, although potentiometers can get worn out and they can be a bit glitchy. So if you go to 100% or 0%, you might not get that. So the Mark III, it uses a rotary encoder. And what does that mean? Well, essentially, if I use this one, you can just rotate it forever in either direction because it works as a digital component. So a bit like in car stereos, basically, the volume control there. And it also has the capability to be pushed in. So that allows for more control. And let me show you exactly what that means if we plug in this Mark III. There we go, sorry, take a moment to plug in the power. So just like the Mark II, we've got the spin up sound, and at the moment it's idling, playing a random access. So if we use the rotary encoder here, we can turn the volume up or right down to 0, so it can be fully off. So whereas the potentiometer on the Mark II sometimes wouldn't quite go to 0, with the Mark III it will go to 0. So if we turn that back up. Now what we can also do with this new mode is put it into balance mode. So the 3 beeps indicates in balance mode, and now I can adjust the balance between the idle sound and the excess sound. So one way it's fully only excess sound. If I introduce a bit more idle noise, there's a bit of idle noise, or I can have more. Whatever you want. And then of course, as before, we've got the spin down. Very nice. So the Mark III is a real step up over the Mark II. It's easier to manufacture. It's a lot more reliable in terms of it just come in with everything added to the board professionally. But also we've got these mount points here. So this one can have a bracket, so it can go nicely in your ISA slot. I've been looking into getting the brackets professionally made out of stainless steel. There's an upfront cost to this to get a mold free of a few £100. After this, depending on how many I purchase, it's around about £2 per bracket. So that really just depends on the demand and whether it's worth putting that upfront fee down. But whilst I was waiting for the Mark III to be manufactured, I was working on the Mark IV design. As you can see, it's a fair bit smaller than the Mark III. And another quite apparent thing is the fact it's got a compact flash card there. So the Mark IV is based on the Mark III, but it's designed to be smaller and more flexible. So for instance, this could go in any computer. You could put it in an Amiga 1200 quite easily. And it has a compact flash card on it, so it will function as an actual hard disk, so a full hard disk replacement. It's designed to work with some different mounts, so it can be put in a 3.5-inch driveway mount. The mount is meant to have the speaker, so by default here it doesn't have the speaker to save space. So if you put it in the 3.5-inch driveway mount, you'll get the speaker and it'll work as a full hard drive replacement. You can put a front panel on the computer and you can use an OLED panel with that, so you get readouts, you can attach the Rotary encoder to it, the action button, all those things. Or it can be used in a slot configuration, so it can be attached to an ISA card like so to get power and have the controls sticking out the back. So it's really the next evolution of the Mark III. As much as I like the Mark III, I think it makes sense to have more flexibility in this project, which is what the Mark IV represents. So if you go to strifestrips.com, you can see the latest news on this. You can see a 3D render here. So all the controllers, or sorry, all the headers for the controllers there. And of course you've got the IDE connector and the compact flash slot there. And then power comes from a floppy disk header there to save space. So there you go. I'll be sending the Mark III out to a few people so you can have a play with this. But as I say, I'm already moving on to the Mark IV, which is, I think, the natural evolution of this project. All right, thanks for listening even. I'll see you next time.